Hey everybody, you know what time it is. It's back for today's Ready to Turn Chronicles. Into Resolve. Finally moving on to episode 4, Twisted Karma and His Last Bow. He just got hit with a major revelation in the last case.
Pipe in hand, Sholmes looked down at the thick, rolling fog outside our window. I wonder exactly how many mysteries are out there, hidden within this bed of fog, he said. Indeed, a most bizarre incident, born of a curious advertisement. A hellhound's mad gallop through the shadows of a serial murder, an executed man's graveyard resurrection in the dead of night. And a commonplace killing in a small, forgotten room at the edge of town. There is, naturally, always another side to every case, of which most remain ignorant. And it is that other side which compels me to the scene of the crime, Wilson. So quickly now, take your hat and let's be on our way, my dear fellow. For our adventure is not over yet. Come, the game is afoot.
Eight days after that earth-shattering trial and Cosmo regaining his memory. We were in the foyer of one of London's most luxurious hotels, the Great Waterloo Hotel. Professor Mikotoba is due to arrive at any moment. Yes, I'm so glad we got here in time. The truth about Kazuma-sama's father. Do you suppose my father knew? That he was actually the mass murderer? The professor, you mean? There's a good chance, I'd say. I mean, they did come here to London together 16 years ago, didn't they? Yes, that's true. Come to think of it, didn't you say that Professor Mikotoba knew about Kazuma going missing in Hong Kong as well? That's right, but for some reason he wasn't at liberty to talk to me about it. Who's that? Father! Hello, Susato. How are you? I'm very well, thank you. We're delighted you've arrived safe and sound. Hello, Mr. Naruhodo. Very kind of you to take the trouble to meet us here. Oh, no, not at all. It's my pleasure. We've heard all about your extraordinary exploits here in London, you know. The news has crossed the seas. It has? I always look forward to reading the monthly reports that arrive with the steamships from Britain. Oh, I see. Thank you very much. I take it from your expression that you can't quite place me. In that case, how about a little reminder, Seishiro? A firm tap should do it. Yes. Here we go then. I hereby pronounce the defendant Ryunosuke Naruhodo guilty. Oh, you're... How do you not recognize that beard, Ryunosuke? Of course, we're now here at the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Your Excellency!
Hello, Judge Chijoku. How are you? It's been a long time.
Good, you've remembered now. That really did the trick. Guilty! Kinda guilty of being a nincompoop. So, London again after all this time. Hard to believe it's been 10 years. To be honest, never thought I'd be back. Neither did I. I didn't imagine Japan would ever be invited to an international symposium like this. Oh really, I doubt anyone did, to be honest. It's all thanks to you, isn't it, Teishiro? What are you talking about, Yujin? All those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took rather a lot of time. I must say, I'm very envious of your ministerial status. You didn't have to go through any of that, did you? I knew you were jealous. Sorry? Ministerial status? Yes, didn't you know? Teishiro here is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. It was his personal insistence that allowed you to take the Cosmos place here on this study tour. Guilty as charged. Oh, well, thank you very much. That suit is really snazzy, I gotta admit. Ah, yes, now, Naruhodo. I received a telegram from Lord Stronghold yesterday. Oh, you did? It appears that something's came to light in a trial you were involved with 8 days ago. About what happened 10 years ago. That tragedy. Yes, could you tell us any more about it? So, how's the voyage here? Well, 50 days at sea is a long time by anyone's standards. But it wasn't as bad as when you first came 16 years ago. Oh, that's true. Then I truly wondered if we wouldn't be drifting in the vast ocean for the rest of our lives. This time we followed the same route as you, so we were able to relax and enjoy the experience.
So you stopped in France's beautiful capital, Paris?
We did, yes. But only for one night. And yesterday evening, we left the port of Dunkirk for Dover. Just in time for the symposium, in fact. It starts tomorrow.
It's wonderful that you're invited to attend such an important international event. I'm very proud of you, Father.
It's thanks to Seishiro here. 16 years ago, he managed to ingratiate himself with Britain's Attorney General. I'm sure that's why he was invited, and I suppose you could say I'm something of an appendage by default. Speak for yourself, you two. You were close friends with the professor of forensic science at a major hospital. Yes, well, I'd rather not dredge all that up, really. No, there's been a lot of water under the bridge since then, but it doesn't bring him back. The professor, the killer who took the lives of 5 members of the British aristocracy, was actually Cosmo's father, wasn't he? That's correct. Genshin Asuki. Genshin.
You knew, I presume, father?
Yes. He was a close friend at the time. Genshin came to Britain as a police detective. He was studying investigative techniques at Scotland Yard. I never understood what drove the man to commit such heinous acts. It was a closed trial, so the public never knew the truth, and he was executed with little ado. To this day, very few people know what really happened, even in our homeland. But what about Cosmo? Did he know? Did he know the truth about his father? No, of course not. He was told his father passed from sickness. However, I suspect he may have had his doubts. Oh, why? As you know, I tried to guide Cosmo growing up, as if he were my own son. Then one day, he came to my office at the university and said, "I've decided. I want to travel to Great Britain and study there."
Do you think? He wanted to come here to investigate his father's death?
I don't know. When I looked into his eyes, I did know that there was no way I'd be able to stop him. Something else came to light in the trial the other day, actually. Oh, what? Well, having disappeared in Hong Kong and been missing for almost a year, Cosmo has since turned up here in London, working as the apprentice of Lord Van Zeeks. What? What? That's news to us! As you know, we both thought Cosmo had died on the steamship during our voyage to Great Britain in January.
But he didn't die. He's alive. As you knew, didn't you, father?
In actual fact, no. What I did know is that when your ship docked in Hong Kong, he mysteriously vanished. We sent a team of investigators to Hong Kong to try to ascertain what had happened, but to no avail. But he's still alive, and here in London, you say? I never dared even to dream of. Why on earth did the young man not make contact? The government and the police have been chasing clues fruitlessly for months now.
Well, it seems that he was suffering from amnesia.
What? Amnesia? When we first came across him again here in London, I didn't know who either of us were. I see. He only regained his memory 8 days ago. This is unbelievable. Yes, it's quite miraculous. I wonder why Lord Strongheart didn't let us know. I must speak with him urgently. No, he's your friend. Go visit him. That began 16 years ago now. It's a distant memory, really. It was Eugene here, Genshin Asuki, and myself. We were the original 3. The first judicial scholars from Japan to travel overseas to study. Ocean voyages were not what they were not where they are today, I can tell you. Your father was an exceptionally fine medical student at Yume University at the time, you know, young lady.
Yes, grandmother told me.
He went to do research at a great London hospital to study autopsy, practically unheard of in Japan. Yes, it was an eerie place, sandwiched between the back of a prison and a burial ground. No more talk of graves. Very often, there's no one willing to deal with bodies following autopsy work. So you see, autopsy labs have something of an unavoidable relationship with graveyards and prisons. Not my cup of tea at all. Do you remember that Scottish prison governor? Kaiden, his name was. He was a good man. With Kaiden. Yes, but then of course in our 6th year here, everything changed with that dreadful case. When Genshin was arrested, for a series of the most gruesome murders. I simply couldn't believe it. I've known the man for years. I was a witness at the secret hearing, and I tried to speak in his defense, but you went a little too far and ended up facing charges yourself, didn't you? Well, suffice to say that after that trial, we were sent back to Japan. There was nothing more we could do to save Genshin. He was a lost cause, sadly. Well, if you'll excuse us now. Yes, I'd like to get this trunk up to my room as soon as possible. Oh, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have held you up here for so long.
I'll call for the porter then. Just wait here.
I'd like to stay and talk more, but I do have various preparations to make for tomorrow. Yes, of course. It must be a big responsibility representing our entire country. I wish you the best of luck. Naruhodo. I hope you'll keep an eye on Susato. Keep looking after her as you obviously have been. Oh, no, I mean, if anyone's looking after anyone, it's her looking after me. Well, I do appreciate you being there for her, after all. I've been a miserable father to her. I've thoroughly let her down. Sorry? What do you mean? Well, it was 16 years ago that I started my long study tour here in Britain, as you know. The very year Susato was born. Yes, I heard. The birth of my daughter was the most joyous event of my life, but... well, sadly it was accompanied by the most tragic event of my life too.
It was a rather turbulent time at home.
Anyway, I won't bore you with the details. The point is, I became rather less dependable than befits a grown man. And it was then that Seishiro offered me the opportunity to study here in Great Britain. I was too worried about you to leave you behind. So perhaps I was a little heavy-handed when it came to persuading you to accompany me to London. So, that's what happened in a nutshell. And it's also the reason why I now feel compelled to give my daughter as many opportunities as I dare. Though the world does not really readily afford young women for such things, I must say. I completely understand, Professor. One other thing, Naruhodo. If I may be so bold, I have a favor to ask you. Oh, really? Of course. What can I do for you? Well, the thing is,
I'm sorry that took so long.
Mrs. Sato.
Now then, allow us to take your bags.
Allow me to take your bags. One moment, if you please, porter. Of course, sir. The machine around your neck. It's a camera, I believe? Quite right, sir. Just 5 shillings for a lovely photograph to commemorate a wonderful stay at the hotel, sir. Well, I think given the occasion, we could justify the expense. Yeah, yes, of course.
I'd like to thank you for coming with me, Mr. Naruhodo. It truly made Father very happy, I think.
Oh, well, I'm pleased then.
Shall I return to Baker Street then? I expect Iris will have some delicious tea waiting for us.
Yes, let's go. Anything interesting to look at? Yeah, let's just keep going. What is going on here? What was that?
A man screaming in a most unflattering way.
Do you think... Could have been Mr. Sholmes?
Oh my, I do hope not.
He's probably just playing his violin again.
No, I don't have to do it anymore.
Mon ami, mon ami. Such a disgraceful display, huh? Who are these people?
I think they must be clients of Mr. Sholmes. Right, you two. You come with me now. Down to the clink. Oh, Northern Prison is dark and damp and I don't like it.
Oh, to darkness. It is my friend. I am not scared. My old friend.
But you're always scared of the dark.
Shut your mouth, you idiot! I will sit quietly in the dark and our next daring heist.
I don't like this, I don't like it. Oh, tough. Maybe it's just down the yard. Now get moving. Right then, Ginny. Have fun. Oh yeah, thanks, Iris. And thanks.
You're a great detective.
Tina makes a fine detective herself, doesn't she? Oh, Susie. And we're now.
Hello, Iris. We're home.
Well, did you find your daddy? Yes, we arrived at the hotel just before he and his friend. Oh, well that's great news. I hope I'll get to see my daddy again soon. Yes, of course.
I think this is Sholmes. Hello, Iris. All that remains now is the greatest of problems known to man. But before we concern ourselves with that, I believe some tea is in order, don't you, my dear fellows? There's something wrong, Mr. Haruhodo. Do I have chroma such like on my face? Come
along then, everyone. Have your lovely special blend. Time for tea!
Whatever is going on here today? In that case, let us sit and drink now. For I am, in fact, expecting a guest later today. And the red doesn't really suit him. A little black here would be nice.
Mr. Sholmes? Who were the two gentlemen that were here before?
Well, just a pair of petty criminals. Nothing of significance. Of course. They have to make a living somehow. And when the mood takes me, I'm willing to turn a blind eye to all manner of infractions.
When the mood takes you?
All manner of infractions? But when such fellows set their sights on Mr. Herlock Sholmes, well, that's when their luck runs out.
Oh my, you were the target of a crime, Mr. Sholmes?
but I quickly devised a plan to entrap them and delivered them to our young detective ally.
You should have asked Grixie to come too. We could have had an arresting tea party.
I did send word, but no answer was forthcoming. The man is constantly in the wrong place at the wrong time. There's a word for it, I'm sure. I have a bungler, that's the word. It's a good job he's not here to hear you say that.
I wonder what the men did.
What was that about the greatest of problems known to man that you mentioned before?
Is it another fiendishly intricate case, Mr. Sholmes?
How should I best explain it? Are you aware of the theory of evolution by natural selection, perchance? Well, I think I've heard talk of it somewhere. Possibly.
It's a revolutionary scientific theory that was newly proposed 40 years ago now. According to its author, Mr. Darwin, we humans were once apes who lived in treetops.
Wait, what? We were apes? Indeed, and from the very moment those apes descended from the canopy to live as humans, it has been our lot to be at the mercy of the greatest problem known to man.
Our what? What's this great problem, Mr. Sholmes?
Why, is it not obvious, my dear madam? The problem of rent!
But did you not receive about a large sum of money from Madame Tuspel's only the other day?
Sure, a large sum. One potted herb for Iris and a new motor car for me later, and all of it has quite disappeared, I assured you.
Honestly, Hurley, you know you squandered it.
Yes, well, anyway, 2 days ago, I discovered the answer to man's greatest problem, for the coming month at least. And what was the answer? Why, there's a substantial clue for your very eyes.
Don't tell me. Let me see.
Humans are sorry creatures, unable to see what is in front of their noses. Let me give you some assistance. Don't look, but observe me very closely. There's one particular feature about my person that has changed. You should notice it in the end, I think. We noticed it in the beginning.
I think we might need another clue before we uncover the full answer, Mr. Naruhodo.
Thanks for the hint. I'll be tearing my hair out if this goes on any much longer. We'll get back to that later. Mr. Sholmes, isn't it about time you told us the truth? Just over a week ago, you said to us, I will now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. Great detective, I won't to lie. It will serve you well to remember that. A case of aboard the SS Burian in January. Cosmo wasn't killed, and you knew he wasn't dead at the time. So what was really going on? The fellow was unconscious for a very long time. If he hadn't regained consciousness when he did, his life would have been in mortal peril. Of course, a side effect of the prolonged comatose state was amnesia, as you now know. It was a simple enough task to silence the crew. But how? After they carried him out of the cabin, I assembled them in the lobby area. Then I made them swear. Leave him unconscious and have him unlaid from the ship in Hong Kong as a murdered corpse.
horrible.
It was necessary to find some material with which to persuade the crewmen to keep their word, of course. But why? Why do it in the first place? I will be at liberty to elaborate in due course. But for the time being, I would like to reassure you. I didn't foresee subsequent events. What events? This disappearance in Hong Kong.
Oh,
I believe I may have made a gross error of judgment. Mr. Sholmes. How did he get all the way back to London? Did he just get back on the boat? Oh wait, that mask. The mask Cosmo wore when he was assigned to Lord Mantis as his apprentice. When he cast it aside after the trial the other day, I just sort of picked it up.
we have to give it back to him, I suppose.
But he has his memory back now, doesn't he? And I can't help thinking he might turn around and tell me coolly to wear it myself.
But isn't he your best friend?
Those tattoos are nice. I know how fire works, Sato. I mean, would she be wrong, though? We're not gonna be having tea right now. Yunosuke, you're not even trying. There aren't any more dialogue options. It's not a nice returning game if I don't present my badge to somebody. Newspaper. Ah, here we go. Red-headed lady. There's something on my face. Account of the inquest of the late Ezekiel Hopkins of Lebanon, Pennsylvania, USA. There's now another vacancy open which entitles a member of the League to a salary of £4 a week for purely nominal services. All red-headed men who are sound in body and mind are above the age of 21 years are eligible. Applying in person on the morning of the 31st at the large park on Lime Street. How much is rent, though? It looks like though someone circled an advertisement in this paper, Mr. Sholmes. That's the British way to say it, isn't it? To the Red-Headed League. Does that strike you in some way? I was thinking that just maybe it might be related. Your bright red hair. So, at last you've learned to apply my methods, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? In the first instance, an quite indispensable observation. Believe me, I could have seen that hair with my eyes shut. So then, allow me to regale you with the details of my latest exploits. So what is the Red-Headed League, which seems to be the subject of the advertisement you circled? You noticed it in the paper, then? That, my dear fellow, was going to be the source of this month's rent payment. It was? How? According to the advertisement, the Red-Headed League is a distinguished institution of fellows of unspecified governance. In fact, the only condition for becoming a member is having red hair. That doesn't entirely surprise me.
Well, listen to what the lucky redheads receive once you join. An unconditional salary of £4 a week. Oh my, £4 a week?
But why? What are they paying people for? That I don't know. No details are given in the advertisement.
But surely every red-headed person in the country would be flocking to join in that case. You're right, Susie. There's no time to lose. I'll put in my application at once. So will I. Just on the off chance. The trouble is, we have a fixed number of members, you see.
Oh, I see. Once a certain number of people have joined, no one else can. But as luck would have it, one member recently passed away.
It wasn't particularly lucky for the redhead in question, I feel, Mr. Sholmes.
So you decided to try to join in his place. Correct. I mean, look at me. Have you ever seen such a red-headed fellow? No. But why? Why did it have to go so wrong? What on earth happened? I'll blunder, Mr. Naruhodo, though it pains me to admit it. They've seen photos of you before, being a great detective and all.
What did you actually do to your hair, Mr. Sholmes?
I'm glad you asked, Mr. Sato. But you see, atop my head is neither dyed nor a hairpiece. I changed the color of my hair overnight. By the wonders of chemistry.
Isn't that the same thing as dyeing?
Chemistry? I was conducting some research into a method of rejuvenating spent tea leaf. And in the course of my work, I stumbled upon a potion that, when taken, turns one's hair flame like red. Would you like to try it? It would make every hair on your head perfectly crimson. I think I'll pass.
Mr. Sholmes, is it quite safe to drink? Really, it's bad for you, isn't it?
Amateurs are always hampered by such fears.
Oh, I should never have doubted you, Mr. Sholmes. I mean to say.
Well, of course. To earn £4 per week, one must be prepared to turn a blind eye to a little danger. I mean, he's obviously fine.
So anyway, Harry left full confidence yesterday with his new red hair. For the park on Lime Street, where the Red-Headed League were interviewing prospective new members.
So what went wrong? The whole park was choked with red-headed folk, like Custer's orange barrel. I queued for 8 hours solid before I at last had reached the front. When the panel of interviewers saw me, they immediately said, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, are you in disguise to conduct an investigation? I knew it. So naturally I had no choice but to reply. Shh, don't give me away. After which I could do little else but turn and leave. Then this morning, when I looked in the mirror, irritation stirred within me. I turned that pair into the police.
Oh dear, what disaster. For Hurley and those two redheads. Mr. Sholmes, you mentioned before that you were expecting a guest today?
Indeed, Mrs. Sato. That is correct. None of those red-headed gentlemen that were here before. Not at all. They were petty villains. The guest I am expecting is a client. Oh? A young gentlewoman who wishes to appoint the services of this great detective, no less.
Oh, how wonderful, Mr. Sholmes.
You must stay and observe the fashion in which a great detective receives his customers. Must we? I have you in my clutches now, Rent, just as I have you in my clutches, redheads.
That hearty laugh is masking rather sinister thoughts, I feel. You know, the lady isn't due for another hour yet. I feel as though you must wait around, you've had other things to do.
This is the final draft of the opening address for tomorrow's proceedings. I supplemented your original with the figures you asked for from the yard. I see. Excellent work. Thank you. You're welcome, my lord.
Aye, there seems to be an awful lot of tension in the air, wouldn't you say?
Oh, they spotted us. My apologies. I didn't notice you coming in. Your small statue and dark dress made you all but invisible to me. Oh, no, it's entirely my fault for wearing black, I'm sure.
From now on, you must dress in white from head to toe whenever you come here.
Now then, Mr. Naruto. Yes, my lord. I'm right here. Is something wrong? Perhaps it's a little too hot in here for you? Oh, no, not at all. I mean, I've experienced a room at such a perfect temperature. If you're sure. The beads of sweat carving their way down your face seem to suggest otherwise. As you're no doubt aware, my International Forensic Science Symposium begins tomorrow. In fact, your father arrived in London earlier today, I hear about him.
Oh, yes, that's right, my lord. He's extremely honored to have been invited.
I'll leave the remaining preparations for the meeting room in your capable hands, Lord Van Zieks. We will attend at once.
He gave you a very cold stare as he left, didn't he?
I know. But I haven't done anything, have I? These past few days, my feet have barely touched the ground, I must say. My dedicated right hand of many years was recently put out of action in spectacular fashion. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. You sure your left hand's a little service?
Mr. Naruto, he's talking about Dr. Scythe.
Oh. I'm terribly sorry about that. I was just, You're not. You've done nothing wrong. But the Scythe's own wrongdoing precipitated the situation. You need to concern yourself with it any further. Lord Vanzeeks is doing an admirable job of holding the fort. Though disturbingly, his apprentice has been missing since yesterday. Oh.
What's become of Kazuma-sama now?
Not long ago, visitor numbers to the Great Exhibition exceeded 30 million. 30 million?
As a comparison, Mr. Naruhodo, the population of the imperial capital of Tokyo is 2 million.
I will be opening the International Forensic Science Symposium in the exhibition's main auditorium. This event has been 2 years in the making. 2 years of preparations and negotiations with other countries. It sounds like a tremendous achievement. Congratulations. The 20th century will see the wholesale adoption of forensic investigation techniques, and cooperation between policing organizations around the globe will be essential. Which is why this landmark first symposium had to be hosted here at the heart of our great British Empire, in order that Scotland Yard can become the leading investigative organization in the New World.
You're every as passionate in your own way, I'm sure, Mr. Naruhodo.
I'm the only person in this country who truly cares about a future that embraces forensic science. It is my intention to become Her Majesty's Attorney General and reform the Yard from the ground up. But the disgrace of the forensic investigation team has been a bitter blow to my ambitions. I first established the forensic investigation team a year ago, experimentally to start with. With Dr. Scythe at the helm, it was steadily accruing an impressive record of achievement. I was on the verge of changing its name and elevating its status to a full-blown forensic investigation department. And can you not do that now? Obviously. Nobody wants to hear anything about it at the moment. Even I can't keep this story out of the papers. 6 million Londoners will be cursing forensic science now. This incident will set back our country's advancement in the field by a good 10 years, I'd say.
We certainly couldn't have overlooked what had happened, though.
Of course not. We should all be grateful to you both. Anyway, also reform this country's policing when I become Attorney General. This might delay my plans, but it won't alter them. Nothing will stand in my way. About Lord Vanzeek's apprentice. Ah, yes. That came as a surprise to me, I must say. That you and he are old friends. How did he become an apprentice to Lord Vanzeek's in the first place? He came about 3 months ago. An unidentified Asian man was apprehended by border police. They found him hiding aboard a large goods vessel.
Oh my. So he stowed away to get here.
He had no papers to identify him, no passport, and he was suffering from amnesia too. Other than the fact he was clearly of Eastern descent, there are no clues as to who he was. He must have lost his headband. So I decided to assign him to Lord Vanzeek's. That way I could keep an eye on him. But then, why the mask? I didn't want to burden Lord Vanzeek's with tiresome explanations about why he had an Eastern apprentice. You know how he is. He's proven to be a great help to Lord Vanzeek's. I have high hopes for his future. And by the way, do you know where he's gone? No idea. But I believe he's left London for the time being. That's why I said he was missing, Naruhodo.
Oh,
I take it you also didn't know that the man's father was one of our country's most infamous criminals, I mean. What we learned from that trial 8 days ago was a huge shock. Find out my friend's father was... Ah, yes. Genshin Nosogi. The professor case 10 years ago caused a great stir here in Britain.
they're such awful murders. And unprecedented. Using a ferocious dog as a murder weapon?
And no one would have believed the culprit was a foreign student invited to study here by the government. I don't know. I probably could believe that. So the true identity of the killer couldn't be made public then, and it can't be made public now. Nobody in your country knows it was him, and neither do the citizens of London.
The main motivation was to avoid aggravating relations between our two nations at the time, I understand.
Correct. However, it has to be noted that there are some supporters of the professor's apparent cause. What? Supporters of a mass murderer? The majority of the man's victims were a blight of the aristocracy of the day. Somewhat ironically, the deaths actually benefited society as a whole. Or so a fair few thinkers in London believed, anyway. Right, I see.
It seems very similar, doesn't it? See the idea of the Reaper of the Bailey?
Well, thanks for your time. We'll be going now. Aha! Here's my guest now. My latest client, with money to spend.
Ooh, I do hope it's an exciting case, Hurley.
Remember, Iris, we're at present gripped by the greatest problem known to man. Landlords. I must be willing to accept any case, no matter how unstimulating. They've locating a runaway, of course. Don't spare anyone's feelings, will you?
Oh dear. I'm afraid that Hurley can knock a little tack, especially just before rent is due. Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, please, oh please. Please find my husband, he's run away.
To upset me.
I beg your pardon?
Never mind. A personal matter. My apologies. What exactly are you trying to say, Mr. Naruhodo? I didn't say a word. Oh, my dear madam, be seated. Iris, some tea, if you please.
Of course.
What's the matter, Mrs. Sato?
Oh, it's just that gentlewoman. I feel sure I've seen her somewhere before. Very recently. As I've explained earlier, my name is Evie Vigil.
Was she one of the jurors?
I implore you to take the case, sir. Money is no object. Simply name your figure.
Money and welfare are of little consequence to me, madam. Being offered a case to solve is reward enough.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you're the picture of benevolence.
I will of course make a mental note of your offer, however. for contingent reasons. I trust you remember your words also.
If I might inquire, sir. This gentleman and lady would be...
Oh, me? Yes, who else?
What I'm about to tell you, I should like to communicate in the strictest confidence, you understand?
These are my friends. I assure you may say before this pair anything which you may say to me.
I see.
I can vouch for the gentleman personally, after all. He is hard of hearing. Good thing for asking, Mrs. Vigil, but have we met somewhere before? Quite recently, perhaps?
Oh my.
My dear fellow, what is your intention? Clearly you have no ability to differentiate the facial features of the English. If you wish to invite the lady to tea, you must do so in a more gentlemanly fashion.
Is it possible? I knew the nice young lawyer from the trial I attended last week.
There she is, I knew it.
That man's fate in the palm of one's hand. Oh gosh, oh golly, it sends shivers down my spine. It must be very difficult for you as a lawyer. Being hard of hearing, I mean.
Pardon?
Oh dear, I'm so sorry. Don't worry if you can't hear. It was trippy, really, nothing more.
I believe it would be prudent for you to sit quietly in the corner. Yes. Tell us about your husband, madam.
Mr. Vigil, my daily, is 40 years of age. I have a photograph here.
An entirely unremarkable gentleman, by appearance at least. How long have you been married?
It'll be 15 years this year. We have a cordial relationship, and my husband's income is more than adequate to live quite comfortably.
As it would appear. I need only look at you to know these things.
Oh gosh.
Your dress is the latest style, your hat clearly regularly groomed, and your eyes are animated. In short, you had no inkling as to why your husband might have disappeared, correct?
That's right. He's a kind man with a strong sense of loyalty, and he rather dotes on me.
Which would point to the possibility that he has become embroiled in some incident or other.
That's exactly what I fear must have happened, Mr. Sholmes. I'm quite beside myself. My husband's employment is somewhat unusual, you see. What if he's incurred some miscreant's ill will?
What exactly is your husband's line of work?
He's a warder at the prison.
So, your husband is a prison warder.
That's right, yes. Well, in actual fact, he's the chief warder.
Indeed. I see. Well, chief prison warder certainly qualifies as something of a specialist occupation.
Yes, it does indeed. My poor husband must prepare those dreadful punishments. I see that they're carried out. And at such times, he must occasionally spend a night or two in the prison dormitory. But for that extra responsibility, he is remunerated more handsomely than any other warders.
Remunerated?
Of course, we make no mention of my husband's work to the neighbors.
Yes. I believe your prudence is justified. Tell me, at what prison is your husband engaged?
Barclay Prison, Mr. Sholmes.
Really? Barclay? Oh, a fine establishment. If I'm not mistaken, there's a large cemetery just behind it.
Yes, that's correct. Lowgate Cemetery.
Unbelievable, my dear fellow. Yet undeniable.
Sorry, Mr. Sholmes, I'm afraid you've lost me.
Pay no heed, madam, pay no heed. A private matter. So, to the matter of your husband's disappearance. When did you realize he was missing?
Please try not to laugh. It was yesterday.
I'm sorry. Yesterday?
The truth is, my husband does at times have occasion to spend the night away for his work. It's not all out of the ordinary for him not to return home at night. But this is different. For him to not make in contact for a whole day, that certainly never happened before. Oh, my dear Daly, whatever could have happened?
My dear Mrs. Vigil, please, calm yourself. Now then, have you contacted the police?
Why, naturally, but sadly, they refuse to listen to my pleas as my husband has only been missing for 1 day. I was asked to wait patiently at home.
In truth, Mrs. Vigil, I concur with the police. However, let's not be hasty. I see no reason why we should not engage my deductive powers to track your husband down anyway.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Sholmes.
And furthermore, let me assure you, a chance to solve the greatest problem known to man for another month has no bearing on my decision. I see going to put a sweet smile on another Londoner's face. That's really all there is to it.
You have my eternal gratitude. I shall pay any sum you care to mention.
Thank you for everything you have shared with us, Mrs. Vigil. I believe I have all the information I need to begin my investigation.
Oh, please report to me soon with good news, sir.
Fear not, madam. In a day or two, I shall be contacting you with a heartening report, I'm quite sure.
So soon? Oh, how splendid, Mr. Sholmes.
Good news should be delivered early, I always say. If you would be so kind as to leave the photograph of your husband in my possession. Thank you. Now, allow me to show you to the door.
I can't thank you enough, Mr. Sholmes. You've been simply marvelous. You know, I think it every time, Hurley. How do you come out with such nonsense? Good news in a day or two? Are you sure?
I can't be sure, of course, but then I didn't swear on it. I merely gave the good woman some hope. I hope to be able to give her some good news, one might say. After all, the rent must be paid by the end of the day tomorrow. If by that time I've successfully located Mr. Vigil, we shall be mutually relieved. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruto? Don't look at me with those pleading eyes. Oh, my dear fellow, did you hear the details of the case? Yes, my hearing is surprisingly good, actually. Excellent. And what did you make of it? Well, I was surprised to learn where her husband worked. At Barclay Prison, I mean. So you noted that.
Of course, especially with the mention of Logate Cemetery.
Logate Cemetery is at the rear of Barclay Prison. So it was renowned among us students at the university for being haunted by the ghosts of condemned convicts.
Barclay Prison is where that notorious man was incarcerated.
The professor. And now water from the prison has mysteriously disappeared, it would seem. It's all very peculiar. Indeed. But nothing you can't handle, I'm quite certain, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? Run along to the prison and see what you can glean, won't you? It's the prison governor you want. No doubt the man is equally worried. But aren't you going to go yourself? Surely you needn't ask. I can possibly be seen out with this hair. But didn't you go to Lime Street with that hair? That was a quite different matter. I'll leave it in your capable hands. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm rather busy. I'm about to invent hair bleaching. Barclay Prison is on the outskirts of London, backing onto a lonely burial ground. Its four high outer walls loom quietly before us in the fog. Having requested a meeting, we were shown to the governor's office in the watchtower. Guillotine clock? This place is full of hardened criminals. I can't remember the last time a civilian was done here. And you didn't want to talk to an inmate, but to me. Do you get who I am? I'm the governor, Barry Caden. Yes, it's a pleasure. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, defense lawyer. And an Easterner, I see. Does that mean? Yes, I'm a visiting student of law from the Empire of Japan. Japan? Did you say Japan? Yes? There's no any of your kind in here, laddie. Brett, maybe you should try the prison next door, eh?
I didn't know it's another prison next door, sir.
Anyway, we came to ask you some questions about... I didn't like to be so direct, but... I have no intention of speaking with the likes of you suspicious-looking Easterners. Look it out of my hair.
I think it's because of the professor case.
You think so too? And then after his execution, he apparently re-emerged from his grave in the cemetery behind the prison. I might have known. You're sifting around with the case, aren't you? You're agents, eh? Oh, the professor's great whip, no doubt. No, not at all. We're just... Get going with it, before lunch punch your lights out. Oops. We're going.
Governor Caden.
What are you thinking, Mr. Sato?
I'm pretty sure that name came up in conversation recently somewhere. I was wondering if whoever mentioned him might have some ideas to help us.
Hello, you two. I was just taking a moment to catch up on board now that I'm back. But where's Judge Joku? Yes, he is not a relaxing sort. He's taken himself off to pay his respect to all the legal bigwigs.
Having only just arrived in the country today, goodness, he is full of energy.
Professor, you mentioned something before about how you'd known the prison governor at Barclay Prison. Oh, Governor Caden, you mean?
Mother, you must speak with the governor. But he refused to talk to us. He said we were suspicious Easterners.
Well, I'm sure if I accompanied you, it would be a very different story. Oh, would you? That'd be wonderful, if you have time now. Sadly, as you can see, I'm very busy at the moment. You're reading a newspaper. No, I have rather a lot to prepare for tomorrow, you know. Oh, sorry. You Naruhodos are alarmingly good at reading people's thoughts.
Or could it be that you Naruhodos are alarmingly bad at hiding your thoughts?
Let's not fall out now. I have an idea. Here's a letter of introduction for you. Hopefully when he sees my name, he'll change his tune. Thank you. Good luck then. This dark-suited young man is not in the least bit untrustworthy.
I do wish he at least called you a nice young man.
I'm really not sure that would help. Yeah, that sounds totally fake, honestly. Yeah, 50 days is a long time. That's gonna be important later. You could just cast your eyes over this, Governor Caden. What's this then? You can't pull the wool over my eyes, you good-for-nothing Japanese student. Miko Toba. That young jock from the forensics laboratory? That Bikotoba? A jock? Yes, exactly. Him!
Dear, perhaps I should have said something sooner. I'm Eugene Mikotowa's daughter, Susato.
Jinx, you're really the young man's daughter. And you didn't think to mention that before.
I do apologize.
Aye, well, just take a seat then. Can offer you a tough cup of tea, perhaps. I didn't forget to try more of these wee Hancock biscuits. Aw.
Does this look so tiny because he's so big?
Your father's influence is nothing short of amazing.
I'm barely regretting not announcing who I was from the outset now.
So then, what can I do you for, then?
Well, we're currently investigating a case.
It's one of your warders, you see. He's gone missing. Missing?
That's right. It surely had been reported to you as well, being the prison governor.
I've never heard nothing of the sort. There's no missing persons in my prison.
Oh.
It's only been a day.
It's Mr. Daily Vigil, your chief warder.
Eh? Vigil? That's right. His wife came to us and asked us to investigate his disappearance.
Would you be so kind as to tell us what you know, sir?
Aye, of course. We understand that Mr. Vigil is the chief warder here at the prison. Aye, that he was. Strong sense of responsibility and dedicated to the job, no doubt about it. He's a fine warder. Sorry, did you say was? Aye, he doesn't work here no more. He left the job.
Oh my.
When was this exactly? There's a question. When was it about? It can't have been much less than 10 years ago now.
What?
10 years ago? He stopped working here 10 years ago? Aye, as I minded. Again, I never heard the fellow's name in all that time. That's weird if he's gone missing though. But Mrs. Vigil made no mention of it.
I think perhaps Mr. Naruhodo. That his wife simply doesn't know. I think she's unaware that he no longer works here.
Governor Caden, can you tell us what happened? Why did Mr. Vigil give up his job here? That's important, is it? Yes, I believe it may be.
What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo?
I can't help wondering, given that it was 10 years ago.
So Mr. Vigil actually resigned from the position of chief warder 10 years ago, you're telling us? What happened to make him leave the job?
In actual fact, he didn't leave the job willingly. He had no choice in the matter. I mean, he was dismissed? He was, after a particular walk. Sorry? A walk? Aye, that's a word for it in here. A walk to the gallows. An execution. It's the job of the chief warder to prepare the gallows tree and oversee any executions you see. Only, Vigil did something unthinkable on that last walk he was manning.
What did he do?
I'm sorry, but I cannot reveal that information. But I can tell you that it's very rare for a chief warder to be relieved of his post. Why wouldn't Mrs. Vigil know about it? She appears to be under the impression that her husband still works here. I wouldn't gain anything about that, I'm afraid.
Can you perhaps answer one of our more question about the circumstances of his dismissal?
And what would that be in?
That last execution that Mr. Vigil was responsible for overseeing. Was it by any chance the professor's?
I'm sorry, I really am. But I'm not at liberty to answer that.
I see. My father came to Britain all those years ago in order to study forensic medicine. We seem to have been well acquainted.
The dead room, the prison and the cemetery have a lot to do with one another. After all, you need fresh corpses for forensic research. You can? Yes, I can imagine.
The advancement of medical science isn't always particularly palatable.
Your father worked in the laboratory just on the far side of the graveyard. In the basement of St. Sinners. It's still used today. St. Sinners.
Yes, that's right. You've been there.
Yukotobo and I used to ride in cars together and negotiate terms. We used to sit here for hours and gab on about the root dissection and all sorts. Oh, it takes me back. Over upon a tea and a plate of coffee biscuits, of course.
Tiny biscuits. How charming.
He was a good fellow, your father. Reliable. And did set on his work. I'm afraid I'll never understand you Japanese. Well, I can't tell you anything else.
Thank you so much for your time, Governor.
Oh, a moment before your way in. I'm sure I have it in here somewhere. Ah, found it. Here, take this as a wee souvenir of your visit to the prison.
What is it?
That's Vigil's dismissal notice. It's 10 years old now, of course.
Oh my, are you sure?
Aye, it's no trouble at all. It's not the original, mind. Thank you very much, Governor Caden. Well, in return. Do me a favor and never come back here. The case is closed.
Well, I think I'll return to Baker Street for the time being.
Yes, I agree. We need to report back to Mr. Soames with what we found out with Mr. Vigil. But maybe he was one of the sympathizers to the professor. We're back!
I thought you'd be back before long, so I baked some scones for us all.
Huh. So that's what that delicious smell is. Greetings, my dear fellows. You returned a good deal sooner than I was anticipating. He's a Vocaloid. Hello, Mr. Sholmes.
Hello, Mr. Jones.
Say nothing. Your thoughts are written all over your faces in any case. It turns out that it may have been advisable to test my hair color restoration tonics before application.
Oh my.
Pray, tell me, what of our water hand? Have you garnered some new information? Oh, yes. Something very surprising, in fact. Though it's not a patch on your hair, to be honest.
This most certainly isn't. But still, we discovered that.
Oh, hell, Jenny.
Drop everything, Sholmes. This is more important.
Gina?
I can't Adam believe it.
Believe it.
What's happened?
Really a very grave matter indeed. Poor Miss Lestrade made no mention of my hair whatsoever.
It's the boss.
What do you mean?
Boss is... he's dead.
What?
They just found his body, shot with a pistol.
What?
But Inspector Gregson? No, not Grexy.
Come in, my dear girl. Tell us the whole story. Are you serious, Gina? Inspector Gregson was... he was really shot?
I don't know much about what happened myself yet. He's still there, investigating the scene.
Where did all this take place?
A little rented room in a building full of flats on Fresno Street.
The outskirts of town. Nowhere near his home. He was perhaps investigating a case then.
The thing is, no one at the yard knows nothing about no case around there. Oh, how strange. The boss was... he was so good to me. I know I ain't up to much yet, but... one day I was gonna show him I'd become a proper detective. Oh, Jenny.
So, who did this? Do you have any idea who the culprit is?
They got him already. Already? A witness reported something was going on, and the boys got straight down there and took care of him. Oh, what awful person did this? I still can't believe it myself.
You know? Is it Mr. Vigil?
It was the Reaper.
Wait a minute. You don't mean they arrested Lord Van Zeeks for it?
That's right. That Reaper bloke's gone and shot the boss.
No. We just saw him. It can't be. Are you quite sure, Mr. Strahd? Is Barak Van Zeeks the police have arrested?
saw it with my own eyes. In the interview room at the yard. I don't believe it. But there were witnesses. And they're all saying it was him. So you mean there were actually multiple witnesses? They heard the gunshot, apparently. I went all go to the scene. There was only the boss and that Reaper bloke in the room.
And then we're gonna have to defend him.
I don't believe it either.
Thank you for informing us, Mr. Strahd. This really is most terrible news. I'm dreadfully sorry.
What are you saying sorry for? You didn't do nothing. Well, anyway. I'm taking a cab over to the scene right now. Please come on, as soon as you can. You gotta help.
It's a detective's lot to appear wherever some sinister plot has unfolded. I don't want to be all look haggard. Sometimes these things are almost too much for the nerves. Mr. Sholmes. What use is there in being a great detective if I fail to see something like this coming, hmm? How could I let this happen to Gregson? To Gregson? Mr. Narrowhood, I shall leave at once to begin my investigations. Of course, yes, we will too. It would be helpful if you could talk to Mr. Reaper and see what you can glean. I'm sure you were intending to do so anyway. Until later, then.
You know, Susie. I called you the handsome. He's waiting outside.
Thanks, Iris. Are you Mr. Sato?
Yes. It was true. He really was arrested.
Lord Vanzeeks. Fancy meeting you here. The last place on Earth I'd like to be. The last person on Earth I'd like to see. I couldn't very well not come. We heard what happened. That Inspector Gregson was... Go home. This has nothing to do with you. But...
Forgive me, Lord Vanzeeks, but I must disagree. Inspector Gregson was very helpful to us on a number of occasions. We're indebted to him. At the very least, we owe to him to find out the truth about his death. You must help us with our investigations, please.
There's really nothing I can tell you. What were you just reading at the back of the cell there? Was it something related to the case? This? The art isn't quite so cavalier with its information as to share case details with the suspect. This is a letter from an old acquaintance.
Oh, who might that be?
Someone you know, as it happens. Albert Harebrain. And I would like to read my correspondence in peace. So let's get this over with, shall we? What is it you want to know? Can you please tell us your side of the story, Lord Benzix? What happened? How much do you already know?
You know that the inspector was shot dead in a small rented room on Fresno Street.
And that you were found there by the police when they arrived on the scene and immediately arrested.
We were told that there was nobody else in the room, and that some witnesses heard the gunshot.
Then you're well informed. And there's really nothing I can add. The truth is, I don't know what happened myself. But the gunshot? Obviously you didn't fire the gun, did you? I'm not in the habit of shooting the people I work alongside. I also heard the noise. However, before I had a chance to investigate, I was apprehended by the arriving officers.
I might ask, what were you doing in that place to begin with?
I don't need to answer that.
Huh.
After all, you're not representing me. Not yet. Who is going to be representing you in court, Lord Benzix? Anyone other than you, I should imagine.
Would I be right in assuming that you have no representation as yet?
Defense lawyers shy away from any trial involving the Reaper, as I'm sure you know. But this is different. In my career, all of the defendants I prosecuted, only 19 have ever been acquitted. Of them, 16 subsequently died in mysterious circumstances. Questions will be asked now.
Surely not.
I assure you, no defense lawyer will want to touch me with the end of a barge pole. But you didn't actually have anything to do with those people's deaths, did you? It's been 10 years now that I've been known as the Reaper of the Bailey. Believe me, nobody wants to know the true identity of this killer more than I. However, it seems things may come to a head before I have the chance to uncover the truth about that. His letter to inform me of his safe arrival at home. I arranged his passage by sea and rail. It's a relief, I must say. He should now be beyond the reaches of the Reaper.
Because the Reaper doesn't follow people abroad, you mean?
So it seems. Your stupid little Nipponese friend, for example. You told me he was keeping well in Japan when I inquired the other day. Yes, that's right. He's an author now, happily working in Tokyo.
So Professor Harebrine is safely back in Germany now.
He is. So, it appears our conversation has run dry. There's a 2-second silence, that's all. Well, in any event, if you'll excuse me now, I wouldn't like to detain you. You're the one who's detained. I was wondering, Lord Benzix, if you'd like, I'd be happy to advocate for you. You trust me, do you? Yes. I've heard you speak many times in court. I've seen how you treat people. So I'm quite sure that you would never have taken another's life. It's just, my feelings can't be used as evidence in a court of law, sadly. It's a very gracious offer, however. I trust no one. What? Not the police, not the judiciary, and not uni police. But please. I have no intention of engaging your services. I'd appreciate it if you don't visit again. Then neither of us will waste any more time. No, you don't mean that.
This is where poor Inspector Gregson lost his life.
Yes. And the police are already hard at work investigating, it seems. Ashley's still working on his hair.
What? What do you think you're doing there? Every one of the drawers has got to be taken right out so you can look underneath and all. I want to space about this being checked, and don't forget to look inside the chimney stack too. Blimey, ain't you going in there going nowhere and us looking for dough when the owners are out of town?
No, Gina.
Oh, so you turned up at last. Mind you, I ain't been here long myself.
Hello again, Gina.
Someone just left. You're lucky I missed that. He went prancing around in the air, pointing stuff and flicking that out of his, and then just scampered. Oh, he's finished investigating already, you mean? Yeah, he didn't stop saying nothing to no one. Not even me.
Gina, would you mind if we investigated too?
Listen, Odo. You're a lawyer, right?
Yes? Why?
Well, you're not thinking of trying out that Reaper bloke, are you?
Oh.
You know, you don't mind me saying, if Lord Antiques really is responsible for this crime, he will be duly and fairly judged in court. I suppose you're right, yeah. Go on then, Odo. Get investigating. I want to know the truth about what really happened here.
Thank you, Gina. Is it Mrs. Vigil? Aha. Inosuke, are you okay? It is daily, isn't it? Inspector. Oh, sir. Yeah, that's rough, buddy. Excuse me. Sorry, sir. Can't see a thing, sir. Too many tears, sir. Excuse me. If looking down on us from the great beyond, Inspector, don't worry. We'll look after things at the yard. Then where's the bullet then? That's a little over 3 inches, I guess. What if I examine it for evidence? Gina, what was Inspector Gregson doing here in the first place?
That's what I want to know. It's what? Happy as in the clink? That's when I decided to give up my diving and become a detective instead.
Oh yes, Mr. Sholmes twisted the Inspector's arms to agree to take you on as an apprentice, didn't he?
Something like that, I think. Anyway, the point is, I didn't really know much about the boss till then. But it turns out, he's a bit of a legend at the yard. Goodness, really? They say he managed to solve some really tricky case, just like that.
He did?
Yep, and ever since then, he started going on all sorts of investigations, but always on his own. No one else at the yard even knows what half of the cases he's working on now, apparently.
That's not how it's supposed to work, is it?
I know he had a lot of respect for the Reaper and all. And look what that landed him.
Respect for the Reaper? In what way?
I heard him say as much. I'll take my hat off to that fellow for his words.
Not how the general public feels, is it? Most people are terrified of the Reaper.
Yeah, the boss said that's exactly why he respected the bloke. It says something else to me, you know. I didn't need to worry about the Reaper, because he only goes after people who are bad. It did kind of set him at ease when he said that.
Right. What is this place then? Does anyone live here?
Apparently it's been rented by some cove called Hugh Boone.
Hugh Boone. It's a sort of here today, gone tomorrow name, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's what we call an unidentified person. You haven't been able to get in touch with him.
I see. Well, judging from appearances, I have to say this place hasn't been lived in for a long time, if ever.
Right? Other lads on the yard piled down to get stuck into the investigation. But there's so little here, no one knew what to do with themselves. I do wonder.
Yes, Mrs. Otto?
Well, could it be that this Hugh Boone is in fact Inspector Gregson himself?
What? How could that be?
Well, if he was investigating on his own, it's quite possible that this is in fact some kind of secret office of his.
I never even considered that.
Nice work, Zeus. We're actually following a line of inquiry like that ourselves.
You are?
If you look around the room, you'll see. There's a few things that hint at it. I see that's where the poor inspector was found. Over there. Yeah, that's right. They said there's a single bullet with them and apparently the bullet went right through him and struck that candle tree on the wall. And the gun is there on the floor. It's the Reaper, isn't it? Don't deny that.
What? Really?
How do you know that? Take it easy. I don't know what to do with myself when you stare at me with them big white eyes. I'm almost thinking what I've heard. I don't know much about guns myself. But it's some bigwig lawman or whatever who said so. Why don't you ask him?
Or Strongheart?
Anyway, there's a street runs along under that window there. There's some street sellers just outside you at the gun shop. Oh, but I don't recall seeing anyone outside. Yeah, they all been taken down to the yard for questioning. That's why. We're talking about the yard's legendary inspector here, after all. They'll be getting a grilling.
Do you think we'll be able to speak with those street sellers ourselves?
I doubt it. Glad that the Yacht will want to know what you're snooping around for and give you help for a girl and all. They'll probably be seeing them in court. Done here. There's something else to click on. Oh, we didn't actually get this blood stain yet. So I suppose this is where the victim. That's right. Drove was later on the body to show exactly how it was found. Poor Inspector Gregson himself has already been taken away.
You've made good time. Look at this be. I can hear a Strongheart, can you?
Yes, it sounds as though he's talking to someone.
Is it Kazuma? Yes. Is everything in place? I had a private compartment on the train so I could check all the paperwork. It's...
Kazuma-sama!
Your timing is impeccable. It is? No doubt you have heard the sickening news. About the Reaper's latest devilry. Yes.
I'm sure you don't believe it, of course, though, Lord Strongheart. That Lord Van Zeeks could have done such a thing to Inspector Gregson.
believe only in the facts. And the facts in this case point to one thing. The unavoidable accusal of vengeance for this crime. He must bring charges against the Reaper for taking the life of a legendary detective.
Oh, no, surely not.
It's a truly regrettable situation. Tomorrow the Forensics and Science Symposium finally begins. At the very least, though, we can show the world our justice system's swift and equitable processes. So, does that mean the trial is tomorrow? Precisely. In fact, this is a fine opportunity for introductions. Kazuma.
Did he always look that tall?
Well of course, you're already acquainted, aren't you? Mr. Sogi here will be present at tomorrow's proceedings. Leading the prosecution. Wait.
What?
As I'm sure you're aware, he's a very capable practitioner of law.
Kazuma-sama? Prosecutor?
I'm sure you can imagine that tomorrow's trial will be closely followed all over London. In fact, no. People all over the Empire will be watching closely to see how it unfolds. There's no salvation for anyone that trial prosecuted by the Reaper of the Bailey. And now, the Reaper himself must stand in the dock. Quite so. The public wants answers about the Reaper. Answers about how and why those who escaped conviction subsequently died mysterious deaths.
But Lord Vincex firmly denies any involvement in such matters.
And there have been thorough investigations that have proven him to be innocent. That's certainly true. Or it has been, at least, until now. No. Tomorrow's trial will mark the start of a new chapter in our country's great judicial history. So, Kazuma will be prosecuting tomorrow? That's right.
But he's a defense lawyer, Lord Strongheart.
Accomplished young law practitioners cannot pick and choose their roles. I imagine what it will mean for the prosecution to know the strategies commonly employed by the defense. A devastating combination, wouldn't you agree?
But why Kazuma-sama? There are surely many other highly skilled prosecutors in Great Britain.
It was a personal request. It has to be assigned to the trial. You asked for this? But why? It'll all become clear tomorrow. I'm guessing you intend to stand for the defense, don't you? Although, the Reaper appears to be turning down all offers of representation.
I'm surprised such a personal request would have been upheld. It seems unprecedented. Quite exceptional, in fact.
You are quite right, Miss Pikotova. Tomorrow's trial will be unprecedented and exceptional in every way. After all, the accused is one of Britain's greatest prosecutors, the Pride of the Empire. It would be unwise to give the public a reason to perceive it as a judiciary closing ranks. So that's why you're happy to let a foreigner handle the prosecution? Yonosuke, let's see how your skills have been honed. After practicing law in this land for so many months. Kazuma, I technically have been practicing for like a few months because of that one thing. Well, yes, we noticed that there was a gun at the scene of the Inspector Gregson's death. Do you know if it belongs to Lord Van Zieks? That would be a question for the lead detective investigating the scene. Well, the thing is, he wasn't sure, so she told me I should ask somebody higher up who might know.
That's right, Mr. Naruto. Be direct.
There's certainly a model that's issued to all personnel involved in law enforcement, yes. Which includes prosecutors, as I'm sure you can imagine.
In that case, it could actually have belonged to the victim.
No. Grayson had his gun in his person. What about Lord Van Zieks? He claims it's currently not in his possession. But according to his story, he lost it. In short, it's more than a little suspicious.
But just because the gun in question is the same type as the defendant's is no proof that it's actually his.
No, of course not. I'm sorry for all the worry that I've caused you, but it'll be alright now. Has your memory completely returned? Yes, completely. I remember everything, including what I was coming here to do. Right.
Kazuma-sama, I can't tell you how happy I am to see you alive and well like this. How did you come to be here in London when you were suffering from amnesia?
It was the voice. This past year, I've been hearing it in my head constantly, saying the same thing over and over. Go to London. That's where your destiny awaits. It was that voice that guided me here to London.
I'm so sorry for what's happened.
Anyway, my memory might have returned to me. But there's something that won't return to the way it was before. Huh? What do you mean? I'm a prosecutor now, so I'm sure our paths will cross again very soon. Well, thank you very much, Lord Strongheart. Remember, tomorrow's trial will go down in our Empire's history. There's much you could learn from the public gallery. Sorry that I've taken up so much of your time. We'll see ourselves out.
Hold it!
Before you go, Ryunosuke. What is it, Kazuma? I just wanted to thank you.
Kazuma-sama, what?
You took my determination to heart and brought it with you over the ocean in my stead. And you carried out my role to perfection.
You always were intent on studying British law in order to change our own justice system. It was your dream. Mr. Naruto didn't want that to die with you.
Yes, I had another purpose for coming here.
Oh.
I actually have a favor to ask, which is this trial I'll be prosecuting tomorrow. I'd like you to be there to see how it ends. Right in front of you. As the defense counsel.
And that's what I've been trying to do.
I know you have what it takes. But Lord Fantix would never put his fate in my hands. On the contrary, he recognizes your talent. He does? It's not easy to see behind the facade sometimes. Here, have a look at this.
That's Lord Fantix. It's with the Gregson.
Aww. It was displayed very prominently in the detective's office. In Gregson's office, you mean? Yes. What I'm trying to say is, if you really think you can trust the Reaper, you might find that some straight talking makes him take a different view. Take it. I don't understand. Why are you giving me this? Just hurry, Reinosuke. Visiting hours at the prison are almost over. Alright, we're going. Lord Fantix is still reading that letter.
You've been gone quite some time, though.
He's an incredibly slow reader, or it's an incredibly long letter. I might be able to read English faster than he can. I was intending to ignore you entirely. But I can't turn a deaf ear to such an insulting Japanese. Oh, sorry. I didn't think you'd hear that. I had the case notes brought to me in secret. I was reading them to pass the time.
Yes, we heard that your trial is set for tomorrow.
Which is none of your business. So, have you found the lawyer? How many times must I reiterate the same thing? This has nothing to do with you.
You're just talking to Lord Strongheart, and the prosecutor for your trial has been decided.
I expect nothing less. Though I have no idea who it is. It's going to be Kazuma Asogi. Asogi? Well then. It seems I'm going to have to engage in a conversation with you again after all. You know it. Oh, Fantix. We came by this old photograph. Where'd you get that? It was taken when I became a qualified prosecutor. It's almost unbelievable. I assumed it was long lost. Is the man on the left there? Yes, that's my brother, Clint. Apparently, this picture was prominently displayed in Gregson's office. He had a deep respect for you, you know? Were you aware of that? Respect? That's nonsense. No, we've heard someone attest to it very clearly. Well, maybe once, yes. There was a time things were like that. We were brothers in arms, jovially discussing the future of justice and other such lofty subject matter. That was a nice glimpse of the past. I thank you. 10 years ago, my older brother, who was the director of prosecutions at the time, was murdered. And the killer, as you know, was a visiting student from the Far East. Not a single day goes by. Why don't curse the name of Sogi?
Kenshin Nasogi was Kazuma-sama's father.
So what cruel twisted fate is this now, 10 years later? The man's son is to crucify me in some kangaroo court? I still don't understand why Lord Strongheart apprenticed Kazuma to you. It's what he does. No doubt he knew the young man's true identity from the outset.
What could he have been hoping to achieve?
Let's not forget that it was only 8 days ago that Kazuma recovered from his amnesia. Why would Lord Strongheart assign his trial to somebody like that? Sogi. That name is a very epitome of my bane. The bane that is you Nipponese. I'd only just been appointed as prosecutor when it happened 10 years ago. My brother Clint, the director of prosecutions, was hunting down a mass murderer, a so-called professor. Assigned to the investigation as his partner was a certain visiting student dispatched from Scotland Yard. And that was Genshin Nasogi? Exactly. I developed a deep respect for the man. He seemed noble-minded and chivalrous in the extreme to me. But none of us saw the true nature of the man. So I lost everything when it happened. My esteemed brother, the people I believed in, and any semblance of right prevailing over wrong.
Oh, how awful.
To avenge my brother, I prosecuted in Nasogi's trial. It wouldn't ordinarily have been allowed, but I beleaguered the ascribed prosecutor until he consented.
What do you mean by the ascribed prosecutor?
The man in charge of the professor case inquiry, Lord Male Strongheart. Wait, what? Lord Strongheart? He was a highly accomplished prosecutor, but he agreed to relinquish the trial to me and act as my advisor instead. Since that time, he's the one person to whom I've felt indebted.
I'm sure you must have seen your zeal for the case and recognized your potential as a prosecutor.
Anyway, time passed. But then earlier this year, who should arrive in London but you? And of all things, as a lawyer. I felt your animosity the first time I ever faced you in the courtroom. Your obvious deep loathing of us Japanese. I kept telling myself it was illogical. But for so many years, that hatred had festered inside me. I could no longer control it. And I can understand why, now I know the history. But in the same way that I have long felt the Nipponese to be the bane of my life. To Kazuma Sogi, I am the bane of his. The reaper who sent his father to the gallows. He's looking for revenge, and he intends to take it in court tomorrow.
I really think so.
Grayson's transfer to the Paris Police Prefecture had finally been arranged for the coming month. But he'll never make it to France now. It's a tragedy. Oh, yes, come to think of it, he did mention something about that, didn't he?
I wonder, does it happen often? Being transferred internationally, I mean?
It's the first time I've ever encountered it. The Paris police welcoming an English detective is almost inconceivable. I can imagine what kind of magic Gregson must have worked to put that arrangement in place.
afraid to say. We are very ignorant about Inspector Gregson's standing. We hear that he was considered something of a legend at the Scotland Yard.
Again, it was 10 years ago that he first made a name for himself, by uncovering a decisive piece of evidence that exposed the professor's identity. If it wasn't for Gregson's singular approach to the case, the discovery would have never been made. What sort of approach? After my brother's life was taken, the inspector pushed for a full autopsy.
10 years ago?
Why is that so surprising? Autopsies was considered a desecration of the body at the time, and rarely performed. And my brother was of course a noble. That made the idea of it even more unthinkable. But something Gregson had dug up in his investigations made him determined it was necessary. His powerful conviction somehow influenced the House of Lords, and as a result, I could avenge my brother's death. So, he must have had great confidence in the inspector's abilities then.
It's even more inconceivable that he would have taken his life.
Inspector Gregson. About the gun used to shoot the inspector that was found at the scene. Ah, yes. That's not mine. Really? Because common opinion seems to be that it is. What do you expect me to say to that?
Well, Strongheart informs us that you claim to have misplaced your firearm.
As embarrassing as that is, I'm afraid it's true. When did you lose it then? That... I don't know. I was issued with the revolver when I first became a prosecutor 10 years ago. I must have stowed it somewhere, I suppose. Or left it somewhere, perhaps.
You have something in common with Lord Fantiques after all, Mr. Naruhodo. A talent for misplacing things.
No, this has nothing to do with me. Don't drag me into it. Don't make the sake of associating me with this Nipponese.
Oh dear. Drift is very wide, isn't it?
I mean, you shouldn't just misplace a gun. You think you have a fancy safe to put it in, at least. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh. I lost all confidence in my country's justice system. I don't trust the police, the judiciary, or lawyers. But there's still one thing I'm willing to believe in. What's that? That which you see in the eyes of another across the courtroom. A simple determination to know the truth. Lord Fantiques. From the very first time we clashed in the bay almost a year ago now. I couldn't deny it, even though I dearly wished I could. Here is a loathsome Nipponese, who has absolute integrity as a lawyer. There are only two other men I've known with that same look in their eyes. My brother, Clint, and Genshin Asogi. When you showed me that photograph just now, it reminded me. You mean this photograph? Back then I was able to laugh. I was free of the shackles of mistrust that plagued me now. I look to the future with hope. Since then, I protected myself against betrayal by refusing to trust anyone. But at times, the mire into which I've sunk makes it almost impossible to breathe. I'm so sorry. So, Mr. Naruhodo, I want to believe in that look in your eyes. I need to believe in it. in tomorrow's trial. Will you advocate for me? Of course I will. It would be an honor.
I'm so pleased, Mr. Naruhodo.
Then my life is in your hands. Well, this case is certainly gonna get interesting. But that's all the time we have for this stream. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll catch you next time.